Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. I'm Tim, joined this week by Evan, and we are doing a requested battle report, specifically a faction matchup that we've had requests for, which is going to be SKORNE versus RETRIBUTION. We're playing Lord Tyrant Hexeris, who is Hexeris1, never before featured on Arcane Assist's channel, versus another caster never before featured on the Arcane Assist channel, which is to say Garryth, the Eye of Vengeance.
Eye of Vengeance?
Or something like that.
What does the Eye of Vengeance do?
Like the vengeance is a storm and he's at the center of it?
Not the arm of... Oh, okay. No, that's
like
not...
That's baller, right?
I guess.
I don't know. I thought it
so
was cool.
I mean, like... I was thinking, the other kind of eye where it just stares intently at you.
Just so
and it's
mad.
like vengeful stare. It's like, well, I don't feel comfortable, but
Honestly,
I'm kind of just going to leave.
If we're going to have an Eye of Vengeance, I feel like it's Vyros. Because for one thing, he's only got one left. But the other thing, there's something to avenge there, right?
I mean, like, now the person that took that eye is, like, the leader of your faction, though.
Yeah.
Or at least, revered by your god or something.
I got to say, the Christmas party has got to be awkward.
Oof. Oof.
So let's go over lists. You won the die roll. You're going first. What's your list look like?
All right. So, Lord Tyrant Hexeris. So, this is a Winds of Death list. I've got Marketh, an Archidon, a Krea, and a Titan Gladiator hanging out with Hexeris. We've got the classic double turtle. Haven't seen those on the channel for a while.
Incorrect.
And we've got a Extoller Soulward for some eyeless sight action, Venator Dakar because Vet Leader's a nice rule, and it's got an awesome Weapon Master gun. I love that gun. We've got a max unit of Paingiver Beast Handlers to fuel those turtles, a free Venator Flayer cannon, max Reivers with UA, and min Slingers with UA. With UA and that they don't have one. I don't know why. Look, don't look at me like that. Tell them you're...
the people listening aren't looking at you like that, but I'm looking at you like that.
I know, and it's Eye of Vengeance.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. So I'm playing Garryth, Eye of Vengeance. His battle group, his theme is Forges of War. The rationale behind Forges of War is I feel like Road to War is a really incredible spell. It allows him to leverage a powerful battle group, and Field Marshal Pathfinder helps out those Shale Jacks that really appreciate it. I took Sylys because I feel like the free upkeep and tagging mortality a little bit more easily is a key part of his kit. And then my battle group is Phoenix, his character Jack Moros, a Hydra, a Manticore, a Gorgon, and a Chimera. First time for a Gorgon being featured on Arcane Assist Battle Report. So that's
with good reason.
Well, they're better anyway. I have two Arcanist mechanics. Iris, Mage Hunter of Ios, who's free in the theme. Alara, Tyro of the Third Chamber, who's got Discordia in her battle group, also available in the theme. And then two units of House Shield Arcanists.
Nice.
Free in the theme.
Nice. All right. Well, let's see how this caster works as we go into deployment. So I wanted to die roll. This table's got a big freaking obstruction in the middle of it, and a smaller freaking obstruction in the bottom zone, as well as 3 forests, one towards my side on the left, one towards the top side, and one towards Tim's side on the right. We've got a trench. A hill is what's in the top left, that kind of just sandy bit that's a little bit raised. Elevation. And then there's a wall directly across from that.
Did you know the trench? There's a trench too, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I mentioned
scenario Spread the Net,
Yep.
if folks hadn't already identified. And credit to our local Ian, who put together the SKORNE-themed terrain set on our lovely deserty fat mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig this terrain set. It's simple. It's not 2D terrain, but it has a lot of the virtues of 2D terrain in that it's fairly easy to play with, simple to outlay, those kind of things.
Yeah. So in terms of my deployment here, this obstruction's really, really messing with how I have to maneuver this game. It's going to split my list entirely. So my thought was, why not just double down on that? Because Hexy can spread pretty wide with Soul Slave and arcing spells and stuff like that. Why not just double down and just extreme flank, go as far wide as I possibly can on with the Reivers, because and this is something I do with this unit quite frequently, is that they'll just kind of creep up the one side until they're suddenly behind your opponent, and then they just have range 12 guns that are good against heavies creeping up that side. And then on the other side, I'm going to have a turtle that can just go screaming between that obstruction and the bottom one, and I'm going to deploy some Reivers over there as well after AD to help deal with the zone and help contest, as it's very important in Spread the Net to do so.
Yeah, I felt like that obstruction helped me more than it hurt me. Gave me the ability to kind of protect some pieces while still being able to leverage good guns against turtles. With the proviso that I'm going second, therefore I don't get to capitalize on quite as much board position as I might like. I think this is a good side for me. The rough terrain's not a huge issue, and I'm kind of playing into fairly open pockets, which means I'm not worrying too much about line of sight issues.
Yeah. That the forest on the top side really protects your flag.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am throwing down some slingers. Originally I put them towards the middle, and I'm like, wait a minute. I have nothing on this side of the table except a Flayer cannon crew and one turtle that's going to run. So we do that thing that we talked about earlier. And slingers are actually quite good into Tim's list, especially with the addition of Parasite from Hexeris, because they become POW 13 range 10 weapon master guns against most of his list.
Just want to acknowledge for a moment that was a weak handshake. On my part, mostly. Like, you were right out there doing your best. I mean, as far as you can reach across the table. And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of I phoned it in. I apologize to our viewers for that. So I noticed you don't have any solos on this side to score your friendly flag. What was your rationale there?
The rationale was I forgot there was a flag on that side of the table until halfway through my first turn, where I start running solos towards that flag from across my side of the table.
As rationales go, that's remarkably defensible. I can't argue with it. I feel like there's no real reason that I could object to it.
Yeah.
So you send out these slingers, and you throw up a turtle who's got a bunch of stuff on him, and you eyeball 16 inches from Discordia and get... We're going to get a little Canadian here, but to the millimeter. It's impressive.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, here, is that out of your walk-in spray range? And I'm like, yes, it is. I don't mention that I have Road to War and every other model in this army can move into range. Discordia specifically can't.
Yep.
You're like, Discordia threats 16? And I'm like, yes, Discordia threats 16. And you're like, walk 6, spray 10? And I'm like, walk 6, spray 10. And you're like, no need to investigate any further.
Correct. So the Archidon gets Soul Slave and runs right up behind this obstruction. Another reason that my solos are on the other side of the table, the Eyeless Sight and Harmonious Exaltations are just both so valuable to Hexeris.
Sure.
And I wanted this Dakar to be in the middle of the unit of Reivers, providing the veteran leader. So I was just like, yeah, all the things the solos are important for are on this side of the table. Well, I guess we're just going to ignore our flag. Sure, it's fine.
It probably is.
Soul Slave is awesome. It makes that beast an arc node, and also means it automatically passes threshold checks. So why not take one of the most mobile beasts in the faction in order to, make an arc node? Because he's just going to be able to go wherever he wants after this turn, because he can just fly right on over that obstruction. We walk up the Krea, throw out a Force Aura with the turtle just barely towing in, and we throw our Reivers right up the table as we talked about earlier. And now, Tim, what's the plan for turn 1?
There's going to be a bunch of measuring here. I feel like one of the things, and I'll admit, this being the first game of Garryth2 on the channel, I don't have a ton of experience with him yet. You're going to see me make some mistakes, and I'll try to point them out. But this is going to be a turn that involves a bunch of kind of calculated measurements. Speed of Death is up, Road to War is up, and Occultation is up on the Phoenix. That's a theme benefit. You get to start with your upkeeps in play. So I've got a couple of apparitions here. I apparate Lara, and I apparate the Gorgon, which is incorrect. Evan points it out after a few moments of measuring it, and I switch the Gorgon and the Chimera's apparition. The thing I'm checking right now is if the model that I think is the Gorgon, which is actually the Chimera, Road to War is 3 inches with Field Marshal Pathfinder, and Walk 6 is in range to spray 8 and clip the turtle, which it is. That'll allow the Gorgon to apply its -2 speed debuff. With -2 speed, it can only get 11 inches, so if I keep my pieces behind that line, turtle can't charge them.
All of that seems pretty legit.
Step 1, cut a hole in the box.
Don't do that.
Okay, so that's the apparition. Chimera comes up instead of the Gorgon. That was a mistake. Garryth allocates nothing this turn. He's just happy to have his focus. He's going to be casting Immortality. I'm going to do that with an Arc Node probably, and I'm just going to put a bunch of shots into that turtle. I'm hoping to, boost a bunch of damages, take some dice off 6, and do some real chip damage to it. Mortality is a remarkably powerful spell because normally it's difficult to 2-round a turtle. They get so much healing from the beast handlers, but with Mortality, you kind of force them to wait a turn on that, which can put them in range of death a little bit more easily.
Range of Death, new crick spell.
Yeah. So Iris walked up, stayed in Garryth's control range. She used her Phantom Shot to shoot one of the Slingers, and that allowed me to trigger Road to War on the Gorgon. So step 1, Road to War enabled. Chimera moves up. Chimera is able to just walk. I confirmed the distance because I think I need to scooch a little bit over. But the Chimera's, with its 2-inch apparition off the deployment line, it's able to walk and keep its 1 focus, which is important because that focus gives it defense against ranged attacks. Just in case Evan wants to shoot my Chimera with the turtle, which would be good because they're Arcanids.
Yep.
And the next thing that's going to happen is Garryth is going to... So now I'm setting up for where Garryth is going to bunker. So basically that 14 is measuring Garryth being able to take a shot and take out one of the Reivers. I forget the Reivers have
Death March
on them.
Yes. So I'm not sure I mentioned it on my turn, but I threw up Death March on the unit of Reivers. That gives them +2 mat. Not particularly useful for them, but also Vengeance.
Gives them a lot more threat and a lot more positioning play. So I'm going to end up having the Hydra kill one of them, have Garryth kill one of them, and it's probably not a great trade for the Vengeance, but we'll resolve that in a second. I'm definitely not thinking about it at this particular moment. So that 14 in the proxy base gives me where Garryth is going to end up. So to figure out where Garryth is going to end up, now I know where Sylys has to end up. To figure out where Sylys has to end up, I have to activate the Hydra. To activate the Hydra, I have to activate the Shale Arcanists to put a bunch of focus on them. So Shale Arcanists go, they put a bunch of focus on the Hydra. Hydra walks up, takes a shot, kills one of the Reivers, triggers Manticore. The Manticore gets focus from the Arcanist.
Triggers Vengeance.
Triggers Vengeance, as mentioned. Sylys advances and casts Arcane Secrets on Garryth. I kind of messed with his placement a couple of different ways. Ultimately decided I'm going to put him over here. He's within 3 of the Hydra for the sake of Shield Guard. So now Garryth is in position to cast Mortality. So first thing he does is cast Mortality. He does hit with the Arcane Secrets. So that locks Mortality up on that turtle. Now Garryth is going to walk up to that spot where he's got a 14-inch shot. He's not going to get any benefits from aiming this turn because he's not going to aim this turn. But he's going to walk up, take that 14-inch shot, kill one of those Reivers. Hits, kills with the POW 14. That Void Sniper is pretty sexy. And then he has Repo 5. So he's going to reposition onto where that proxy base is, but not before Road to Warring the Chimera back. So the Chimera just comes back a little bit, stays a little bit better protected, and is in range to Shield Guard for Iris, if Evan wants to say give Eyeless Sight to the turtle and shoot Iris. And Garryth is just going to stay out of 13 inches of that turtle. I think about feeding this turn. I consider, what it might get me in terms of board position, but ultimately decide not to. So Garryth repos, and I just go through the list, what can kill me here. And Evan's like, well, a whole bunch of stuff can shoot you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll make sure I give myself redundant shield guards. So Garryth will be within an inch of the wall.
You don't say that second part.
No, I don't say it out loud.
I feel like it's an important note because up until this point, I haven't thought about the fact that your entire battle group, and also more than that, because of Discordia, has shield guard.
It's true. Yeah.
Because it hasn't come up. And the first gunshot I make will be shield guarded, and I will be like, oh, no, I have to think about this too now.
So the Manticore disappoints a little bit, which is par for the Manticores. It walks up, dials up shots, gets 1, womp womp. Boost to hit, boost damage because it's got 3 focus, and it rolls a 9 for damage, so it does a total of 3 points. Not very much. We're on to the Gorgon plan now. The Gorgon got given a focus, so he's going to boost to hit the Slinger, so I can remove another Slinger. And then he's just going to hard roll it on the turtle, boost damage, and dice -6 again. Puts 4 points into the turtle this time, so you've taken a total of 7. And the turtle is -2 speed. So I'm going to mark that just with a bead in a second here. Discordia is out of range of the turtle, so she's just going to scooch up into range of the Slinger. I'm a little sloppy with that movement, so I tidy it up. She boosts a shot, and she casts her She uses her kinetic field. That's the term. And she's going to use Speed of Death to back up outside of 11 of the turtle. So the turtle can't charge Discordia and kill her.
Seems fair.
She gets base to base with the forest, and this is where I initially put Alara, put her behind Discordia. And then I'm like, I'm going to scooch her up so she can apparate forward and charge out the forest. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll put her so she's 3 inches back so nothing has line of sight to her. And then I just don't do that. So we'll identify why that's a problem in a minute. Canny viewers at home will probably have already figured it out. Spoilers, she has multiple shield guards and a kinetic barrier, so it's not ranged attacks. Moros moves up, and the Phoenix moves up behind the wall. Phoenix behind a wall is my favorite position for this guy. He's occultated, so it's not that big a deal right now. But defense 16, normally huge liability, because without Pathfinder, they can't charge over the wall. But because of Field Marshal Pathfinder and Road to War, being able to untuck him from that wall is just amazing for the Phoenix.
It is so good.
It's the reason I picked this side.
So, I immediately look at him like, what's still the defensive stats on Alara?
And I'm like 15, 14 with kinetic barrier and plus 2 armor against ranged attacks and concealment. And you're like, none of that nonsense.
But what if I just run the Archidon and cast Obliterate at her?
She's immune to blast, so you do have to hit her. But Hexeris boosting is a boosted 8, and then for damage you need a boosted 9. She's camping 2, so she can reduce with focus. But if you roll a boosted 8, then a boosted 9, she dies.
Yeah.
And then I have an inert Discordia. And that's not ideal.
Yeah. So my thought with this turn is I can throw out a Parasite on an important jack, shoot it a bunch with turtles, maybe kill it, or I can just kill Alara with one spell and take Discordia out of the game. And that's huge, because my entire list is guns, except for Hexeris spell slinging. So that gets rid of the armor bonus there. I mean, not this turn, because even if you're inert, you already did it, so it's already up.
Yeah, that's a fun interaction.
But
although, pro tip, you cannot shield guard if you're inert.
Correct.
Because things that you would not be able to do because you were stationary, you cannot do.
Yeah.
Which is a very unusual prohibition, but we looked it up during the course of the game.
Yep.
Spoilers, I guess.
I mean, I think that's what we're doing right now, is just like, how do these rules work?
No. We wait till you kill Alara with an obliteration. I promise.
Oh, okay. Spoilers. I kill Alara with an obliteration. It happens. We do it. So here's the Archidon running. Yeah, and I don't think parasiting anything is going to give me much better.
You'll parasite
odds.
something next turn.
Yeah, I can parasite next turn. It'll be fine. So what else can I do? I've moved the Archidon
Foreshadowing.
up in such a way.
Parasite's kind of the Chekhov's gun of our game right now.
I don't know what that is.
Chekhov's gun?
Yeah.
Oh, if there's a gun on the mantle in the first act that's mentioned by the third act, it should have been fired.
Oh.
It's a sort of famous concept in short stories and playwriting.
Neat.
Yeah, like the notion of suspense. Something that's there and present should be kind of drawn out. You know, the suspense that doesn't go anywhere is just bad writing, right?
Okay.
That's my point about the parasite, is I think it's going to fire at some point.
Fair enough. So
speaking of firing,
we do Harmonious Exaltation with our Marketh, which means he's not going towards my flag. And then we give Eyeless Sight to Hexeris, because that way he can avoid the concealment of the forest when he's boosting an obliteration to Alara. We only need an 8 to hit now.
Mm-hmm.
Boosted 8s are pretty great. Boom. There it is. Reroll back into the tray, even though I rolled a 7 and didn't need to roll that last dice, so because it was automatically going to be at least 1 anyway.
Boosted damage, kills Alara, inert Discordia. Focus is removed, and Discordia cannot gain focus. Kinetic Barrier remains. She is inert, not stationary, but her defense is reduced to 5, and she cannot do things that she could not do if she was stationary, which includes shield guarding.
Mm-hmm. So next thing on the docket. We got a lot of Reivers that can walk on up, mini feet, and then just light Sylys up. Because why not? And this is the point in the game where I realized that all of your jacks have shield guard.
You're like, why not? And I'm like, because shield guard. And you're like, right.
I mean, you do that after I shoot the first
Oh,
jack.
for sure I do.
Or the shot.
For sure I do.
But, yep, so we actually, the Dakar is just out of shooting anything.
She just runs.
So he just
Goes up,
runs.
Takes a nice little bunker behind that forest. Feels pretty effectively insulated.
We move so that we can repo into contesting range of your flag. And then we start taking some gunshots. So, shot number 1, 2-man into Sylys. Now, the consolation prize here is that you shield guard to
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix. Sorry, the next one is when you shield guard to the Hydra. But
Yeah.
we also have a bunch of shots on the Hydra, and man, do those do some work.
Oh God, it's rough.
Yeah.
So the Hydra is going to go up to full focus. That's the thing it's going to get because it gets focus every time it takes damage, but it's going to take a bunch of damage.
It's going to take so much damage, in fact, that I believe I cripple its cortex immediately
Then it loses
after,
all the focus.
and then it loses all its focus.
It's like being a Cephalix monstrosity.
which is so sad. Oh no, didn't. No, that didn't happen this turn, did it? Or does it happen? Oh yeah, the turtle's gonna shoot him too, isn't it?
It's just bad.
Yay! Yay, guns!
Yeah, obviously wins the death's a good
Oh!
gun line.
Oh, hold on, wait. It gets better. These slingers go up, and I'm like, they can put some damage into the Gorgon, and then the turtle will maybe do a little bit more with its guns and then back off because mortality sucks.
My expectation this turn is you're going to commit the turtle and all of these guys, and you're going to just kill the Gorgon, and it turns out that's not what happens. You do a truckload of damage. That's a 6/6/5, which is unexpected but not unwelcome.
Yeah. Unexpected, but not unwelcome.
This is I've said it to Evan, flip it to my clock.
These are dice off 8.
Yeah, and they're Weapon Master because of erosion.
Mhm.
And I confirm that I cannot shield guard to the inert Discordia. And you get to resolve that 6/6/5, and then you you hit it with the third
Roll
slinger.
6/6/3.
Yeah, I think you left on the table about 9 points of potential damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so quit slacking.
And I'm like, well, I mean, this turtle is just gonna leave now. Bye.
Yeah, you're like, I'm mortality. I'm just going to peace out.
Yep. So I get 2 shots. I do 2 damage with the first shot and 3 damage with the second shot and kill the Gorgon.
So, if you'd done a little less impressive with the slingers, that Gorgon might have actually lived.
Correct.
And if you hadn't killed Alara, he definitely would have lived. But,
Yeah.
so keep in mind, that Gorgon was still in the kinetic barrier range.
Yes.
It was getting +2 armor, and it still died through that.
Yes, it
That's
did.
how hot those slingers were rolling.
Beast handlers move up in range to medicate the next turn. So this
Cannot
is
heal this turn, which is key.
They also weren't in range to heal this turn, but
Yeah.
now we can do that next turn, and it'll be just peachy.
So now you're like, okay, how far can that Phoenix go? And I'm like, forever.
Yep,
And you're like, well, you can't go quite straight over the wall. And I'm like, I can go almost straight. This is where I can go. And you're like, okay, but then where can you go from there? Speed 5. I'm like, no, speed 6. And you're like, 1-inch melee? And I'm like, on its fist. And you're like, fuck this model.
yeah,
And,
Phoenixes are better than I thought they were, considering I almost never see them on the table.
14-inch threat?
Yeah, 14. That's a big number.
Many.
But I'm going to do this in such a way that it won't be able to get the fist attack on me.
Fisticuffs.
And it has to charge. So it's going to have some work to do in order to get to this turtle. So basically I move it up, proxy base out where it's going to repo 2 after it shot this Hydra 4 times. Dice off 3 with these gunshots. We do 6, followed by 6, followed by Sail Satan. Did I not take the last gunshot? I rolled 4 and only rolled 3 attacks.
That's still above average for 4 shots.
Okay, well, that's fun, I guess. Gladiator is going to run so that it's just outside of threat range of the Phoenix because it's going to kill the Phoenix that comes in next turn.
Seems about right.
Krea is going to just be a nuisance, be in front, make sure that the Phoenix can't get both attacks. And it's off to Tim.
Yeah, so resource management on this turn is really challenging. There's some really, really complicated decisions to make. My goal is to kill an Archidon, score the central zone, score the flag, kill a bunch of stuff, put the Phoenix in on that turtle, maybe kill the turtle if I can, probably a bit of a tall order, and contest Evan's zone, clear the Slinger from this bottom zone, and score this zone. So my hope this turn is to contest and score 3. That is my ambition. Centrally, that means Garryth is going to need to repo into the zone. And I do heal 2 points with a mechanic on the Hydra. And the Shyle Arcanist unit allocates 1 to the Phoenix and 1 to the Hydra. So, looking at what my options are. So Garryth kept all 6. In hindsight, I probably should have allocated 1 to the Phoenix, but we'll get to that in a second. He forfeits movement to aim. He Spitfire shots. He shoots the turtle, hitting. Dice down 6, no boost. I think about it for a minute and decide not to boost damage. He does a couple points to it. He mortalities it because he's got Witch Mark and he can auto hit it. And then he takes a shot at one of the contesting Reivers and shoots the other contesting Reiver with his 3rd shot. He can buy those shots. That's one of the options he has when he aims. And then I Road to War the Phoenix. And I Road to War Moros too, from the 2 Spitfire shots. This is slightly out of order, but this is how.
Now, I thought this was actually a super weird move, personally. I thought you were just going to take a big ol' armor-piercing shot at the turtle after mortalitying, and then just be like, dice plus 6.
So, 2 mistakes here. I should have repoed into the zone there. Instead, I repoed closer to Discordia in the hopes that I could reactivate her next turn, but I didn't repo far enough to be within 7, so that's just a full-on mistake. Garryth should have walked straight forward and gone into the zone. Didn't do that. These shell mechanics are going to have a weird time because they end up having to keep their command bubbles relevant and try to walk in a way that they can not give cover to this single guy. The first one misses. Second one definitely misses. And the third one, I mean, they need 8s, so I opt to not roll that one and just give a focus to the Manticore. Yeah, so resource allocation this turn is kind of challenging. I probably should have given one of Garryth's focus to the Manticore. I definitely should have repoed Garryth into the zone. I'm struggling a little bit with what I'm doing this turn, and I think I'm making some kind of poor decisions. I look for where the Archidon is and position Moros so that Moros can walk with Acrobatics, which is his bond with Garryth, into the Archidon's back arc. Moros has paralysis, so he can paralyze the Archidon with this walk. So he walks in, paralyzes the Archidon, boosts damage with the focus that he has, and
I believe it's dice off 3.
Yes.
Not spectacular.
Nope. And not spectacular again, but he does a couple points. So, again, resource allocation is a bit challenging here. The Arcanist walks up, and the Arcanist, I debate between Concentrated Power and giving a focus to the Chimera. I opt to give it a focus. In hindsight, I think Concentrated Power would have been better, because then I could make more initials. But this is what I do. I combo and boost damage to get a dice even attack. Then I buy an attack, and at dice down 4, I do 4 more points of damage. So Arcanist is alive on 4 boxes.
Archidon.
Or Archidon, pardon me. The Archidon is alive on 4 boxes, which is kind of an awkward number to be alive on right now, because I'd really like to have him be dead. The Hydra is going to be my Road to War trigger. He takes a shot with an aiming bonus and hits the officer in the unit. And then I roll damage, and I don't boost because I'm hoping I can get him to kind of be back up to full load. Unfortunately, I roll only a 3, and he's only POW 13 right now. So dice plus 1, he does 4 damage? Or dice even?
Does
dice
damage.
even, he does 3 damage. So a little unfortunate there. I probably could have taken a shot at one of the other models in the unit or boosted that damage roll. But either way, he does not trigger my Road to War. Iris takes a shot, and she has to move just a little bit to get in range for this guy, and that means that she misses a deadly shot. So Iris misses, which is not amazing. So my Phoenix charges. Phoenix is only on one focus after charging because I didn't give him that last one that Garryth has right now. Again, a series of small little escalating mistakes. Hits its charge attack of the Mortality Turtle. It's got concentrated power, so it's power strength 19 against armor 18. So dice +1 does a nice solid chunk, lights the turtle on fire, and then it uses its fist attack on the member of the Reiver unit. They're mat 7 now, so that allows me to trigger my Road to War. We kind of messed with this Road to War a little bit because we're debating where the Manticore needs to be to get cover, but we fix it in a second. Because I'm like, from here I shouldn't get cover, and Evan's like, you might, and we end up correcting it. So we'll come back to that in a moment. But the Phoenix buys its last attack, and we're over to the Manticore, who generates 3 shots. So the Manticore, we just sort of move it up a little bit. Check the laser again. And he's out of melee of the Archidon, which is the important part. So he generates 3 shots, takes his first one, kills that guy, shoots the Archidon in melee range. Or pardon me, not in melee range, in melee. But because he's paralyzed, he's only defense 11.
You take your Road to War with a Hydra first.
Yep, I take the Road to War with the Hydra. I hit, and I boost damage. Boosted power 12 at dice -4, manages to kill the Archidon. So that's key, because that clears the middle zone, which would have been scored by Garryth.
I don't actually get the engaged in melee bonus because of your feat.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, forgotten that as well.
Yeah, so
Good
it
point.
would be, instead of def 9, def 5.
Right. The Manticore did get to aim, so that's pretty good. And with his aiming bonus, he takes his last shot on the cannon crew, because I'm just trying to remove pieces at this point. Maybe it would have been smarter to take it as a slinger. Those are the things that I was kind of considering. I boost a hit and finish it off. You take up.
Unsurprising.
Yes. So, that's basically what happens there. I score 2 points instead of 3, which is basically just because I didn't move my caster up correctly. Maybe if I did move him up, he'd be in a bit more of a vulnerable situation, but I feel like he'd be pretty safe a couple of inches forward. Yeah. So my feet's up, which means anything that advances and ends in my control, which because I'm wound is 14. One model can make an attack against them, and everything in my control has black penny.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool. It's called 0 Hour. It's a neat feat. Basically, you kind of set everything up to sort of try to kill some things. It buys a lot of space on a table potentially, and with the loadout of kind of combined arms pieces I've got, it's potentially quite strong.
Yep. So during my Vengeance move, I move one of my Reivers into it. You kill it with Iris. I guess I get Vengeance next turn.
Yay.
And then I take on my Fury. I upkeep Death March for free because I don't have to pay for one of my upkeeps, and the Soul Slave is gone. So we don't have to worry about that.
I debated killing the Vengeance guy with the Hydra instead. The Hydra is only wrap 5, so it would need an 8. And that was the reason I took Iris's shot there.
So my Reivers are coming back for revenge. They're all going along the side and shooting at the Hydra. They take out the last remaining boxes, and then they repo in such a way that they're not getting into the feet, but they are contesting that flag.
Yeah, you get one of them in range of it, and that's plenty.
My Dakar goes and kills Sylys fairly handily.
He does. The Hydra was pretty messed up there. I should have probably supported it a little bit better.
And now I'm debating on how I want to deal with this Phoenix. So it's important because my turtle is only on, I want to say 9 boxes. No, less than that. 4 boxes. It's only on 4 boxes.
Did Fire do anything? No, Fire didn't do anything to him this turn. Right?
Fire did not do anything to him this turn.
But he can't be healed.
Which is huge. So I'm like, okay, Moro's over a wall, def 16. I'm cavalry, so my charge attack's going to be automatically boosted. So if I hit him on the first thing with a boosted 10, he gets knocked down, and I definitely kill him. I also get to heal him with a bunch of beast handlers first. So let's do that with the turtle. First, we move Marketh out of the way. We give our caster Harmonious Exaltation.
Mm-hmm. The beast handlers move up, and they kind of end up spreading out a little bit here. You've got the leader keeping everyone in command. 3 of them heal the turtle for 7 damage, which, if you've been keeping track, is exactly how much damage it took.
And the Gladiator gets enraged by...
When I say exactly how much damage it took, so I meant from the shots.
Mm-hmm.
It has 3 damage from the the poking.
So, enrage the Gladiator.
The anatomical precision.
So I have a plan here. Hexeris is going to Soul Slave for 1 with Harmonious, then boost a Parasite at the Phoenix. I missed the boosted Parasite. Randomize into melee, either the Krea or the turtle. Hits the turtle. The turtle is now parasited because I do not have enough fury to cast the spell again. So this is really bad for a number of reasons. Reason number 1, this is the turn where Tim gets to make attacks on my turn. So if I move the turtle into Tim's control area, not only is it mortalityed, it's parasited. So Tim gets effectively a 5-point armor swing. Reason it's bad number 2, the turtle's on fire and can't be healed. So fire is super likely to do those last 4 boxes of damage it needs to do. Because it only needs to roll a 9.
I just want to point out that the Gladiator moved into melee with the Phoenix. Phoenix took a swing at it, lit it on fire, and did all but 3 boxes to its spirit.
Yeah.
Which is too bad, because its spirit's still functional, but pretty good, because I did a big chunk to a Gladiator. That's going to help.
So this Gladiator is just going to go hard and
Phoenix took a couple damage from a shield guard last turn, healed it with its Phoenix Field. It actually, your Gladiator rolls like a hero. He's got just rolls a string of 10s.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really need to, considering like he's a Fury 4 beast with a billion initials. Like I still took all but one of my stack. So Titan kills the Phoenix. Pretty good. I'm into it. Now we have this other side of the table to deal with. And what I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with my turtle, because my god, he is not in a good spot. I need to roll a 1 or a 2 next turn to get that fire out, or I need to have Tim not roll a 9. Which, I mean, it's fairly good odds that it lives here. But I'm not feeling great about it. This is the thing we were talking about with the Parasite. This was my least favorite moment in the game, because I'm like, this turtle's going to die to fire, and I don't have a choice now.
This is our Chekhov's Parasite, is that what you're saying?
Yes. So, I'm like, this turtle is going to go the opposite direction of any models that are able to kill it. So I walk 8 inches, I proxy it, and I'm like, this is how far I need to go to get line of sight. I can move 2 more inches than that, so I'm going to. I get 4 shots to try to roll a 10 to kill a random mechanic.
This time you take all 4 shots.
This time I actually take all 4 shots. I get none of them, and I repo away. So this turtle is as far away as it possibly can be from things that can kill it.
Garryth could probably still walk and shoot it, but he really doesn't want to.
I would love it if you did that. That'd be worth killing that turtle for me, at least. We're going to take credit because it's our turtle.
I mean, you're helping with Parasite a lot.
Yes. Oh, God, you could do the armor piercing. Only if you am. Okay, it's still really good, though. Anyways, these Slingers are going to go. They're going to just try and do some damage to the Manticore, because we're fairly confident that Moros is going to die. Although I probably should have taken just, like, a Flayer shot at him to give him -2 defense. I don't. And I missed both attacks on the Manticore, so it probably wouldn't have made a difference anyway. Then I'm like, I can move the cannon to take some shots, but then if I do, I block the turtle charge lane, so we don't want to do that. So we're not going to.
Turtle charges, and I get to make a free attack. This is the one I did with Garryth, and he puts a point or 2 into it. Just a couple points, I think.
Yeah, nothing big. Charge attack. Nails it. And Moros is basically dead now. There's a nice another 17.
665.
Good old 665.
Yep. Evan's been a dice god hero here.
And then we take a bunch of gunshots into the Manticore. And we crush some of those damage rolls too. I believe it's another 6 damage or 5 damage.
Well, I shield guard this one with the Chimera.
Oh, right. You get a shield guard here. And then the shield guard takes mediocre damage. And then we just buy attack into Moros and he dies.
Probably should have shield guarded to Moros there, but
You couldn't have. You were knocked down.
Oh, yeah. No, that's why I didn't. Good talk.
And I'm like, okay, now we're going to make it as hard as possible for you to kill me in melee. So I'm just going to repo in such a way that's really awkward for you. At least to get me with the Manticore.
Yep, and you're still in the zone.
And then we have our... Oh, yeah, you also get to make a second attack at me because
because
you're
again. Still in my control. So now I shoot you with the Manticore.
And then I take D3 shots at you with my cannon. These do some great damage. But yeah.
Yeah, again, dice are a big part of the game, and they're a big part of this one.
They help.
I
mean, they also hindered. I parasited my own turtle. Let's not forget that.
Very true.
But
there's some big spikes, like some big swings one way or the other, and it was just like, whoa, that did well or not.
Mm-hmm. So your turn now. What's the plan?
Well, so if I can clear this bottom zone and score it, and clear the middle zone and score it, and clear the flag and score it, I can get the 3 points that if I'd managed to get 3 points last turn, I'd win the game.
I mean, I did score a point on my turn.
Right, but if I'd managed to get 3 points last turn and 3 points this turn, that'd be 6-1.
Oh, yeah, that'd be worse.
Mm-hmm. So I operate the Chimera a little closer, expecting it to be the model that has to go contest your zone. I look at what's contesting. It looks like it's just the one officer model in that unit. I think, okay, I've got 3 cracks at an 8 that might happen. On the bottom zone, I have to kill 2 Slingers, and I can get 2 mechanics into back arcs, so they can try their force bolts there. And then I've got 1 more mechanic who'd need an 8 to hit. So I've got some lanes there, but not a lot. What I really want to do is have the Manticore able to aim, fire that redundant shot to finish that last mechanic, and kill the turtle without needing to go into melee. But frankly, that's not going to work because the variable on its shots is just too punishing. Like if it was reload 2 instead, I would actually be in a better position here. So we activate the mechanics first. They advance. And I just kind of position them so that they can force bolt these things. First guy in a back arc hits and kills.
Nice catch there.
Which one?
Your your dice almost went off the table, and you just
thanks.
Caught it and flung it right back on there.
Unfortunately, I missed the 2 guys. One of them who needed a 6, and the other one who needed an 8. So they've left 1 model alive in that zone, and it's going to be really hard to kill. The 3 that move over here, they all miss the 8s they need to kill this guy. Iris can kill. She can clear 1 scoring piece. She can be the model that is the reason that I score in either the bottom zone or the flag, but she can't do both. Which is too bad, because if those 2 mechanic units had managed to kill those 2 models, Iris could cripple the spirit on the Gladiator, and then I could slam the Gladiator and it would be knocked down. I think I'm probably going to still end up doing that, and I think Iris is probably going to clear the bottom zone. I debate for a minute if I've got room to run one of the Arcanists into Evan's zone so that I could have Iris road toward the Chimera closer to this zone so it could move over, but that's not the move. Immortality. Garryth takes an armor-piercing shot. He boosts damage on the turtle after casting the mortality rather than supporting Witch Mark with it to get an extra couple points of damage. And he only rolls an 8, but...
Dice plus 4.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, dice
more
plus
than that.
6.
Dice plus 6.
Yep.
It's dice plus 4 without mortality.
Yep. Yeah, that's why it was important to cast first.
Such a big gun.
It can be. You have to set it up well. And then I'm like, and I repo Garryth, and I forget to move Garryth with the repo. But at this point, Evan's like, just move him up.
Well, yeah, we do some other activations first.
Yeah. So like, Iris walks over, takes the shot, gets to road toward the Manticore. And then I'm like, actually, I don't want to road toward the Manticore. Again, I'm going to acknowledge there's a couple of mistakes here. This game got kind of weird and complicated in a couple of places. So So instead, I rode toward the Chimera, and then I realized that Garryth is not in the zone again, and I'm like, oh, Evan, do you mind if I move Garryth in? And you're like, yeah, sure. At this point, go for it. We're going to get there. The Arcanist moves up and puts Concentrated Power on the Manticore. The Manticore is able to walk into melee. The Arcanist, who's now got a flag to score, runs over and scores the flag. I point out the Garryth issue. You're like, move him in. Let's not do this 2 turns in a row. So he has repoed into the zone, just behind where the Chimera would have been. Now the Manticore walks. Manticore has not been moved by Road to War, despite our messing around. He has 2 focus on him. He had 3 focus on him. He spends 1 to get +3 strength. He's got Concentrated Power, so he's got POW 20 attacks. These are both dice +2. So he's going to make both of his initials and then buy 2 attacks. So 10 damage. Buys an attack, kills the turtle, and spends his last focus to heal D3 +1. After, because he destroyed a model, Road to Warring himself back into both zones.
Yeah. Important touch.
Yeah. I think if I'd just been a little bit more attentive with some of the elements of this game, and as I mentioned before, still kind of unpacking the details of Garryth, I think he's a really, really incredible caster. He plays a chess game more than any other caster in maybe the entire faction, and I feel very just kind of early in unpacking those pieces. Feels like in some ways he can do almost anything. So here's that Chimera making the slam I talked about. That slam's a little less exciting now that the Gladiator is not going to be Crippled Spirit, but it's a good slam. Man, if Iris could just be everywhere, she would. She's pretty good.
All right. Now the worst thing to ever happen in War Machine.
That is incorrect.
Now the worst thing that's ever happened to me in War Machine.
So fire kills the turtle.
Because of Parasite.
In the maintenance phase, you resolve that effect before you have an opportunity to not upkeep the spell.
Correct.
Consolation for all of my terrible play is that I got to roll a 9 and kill a turtle.
I was so sad. So
this turn looks much better for me for another
flank Reivers. Reivers that have been just going up this flank so hard. They do their vengeance move. Like I said from the beginning of the game, their entire goal is to just sneak up the side. And now they're like, hey, Garryth, you don't have stealth this turn, do you?
Or any shield guards in range, because again, I repositioned him like a babby.
So I have...
It's also worth noting I don't have any focus on him. What he actually has on him is a single bead that indicates that his control area is extended by 2 inches.
So, if I had the turtle this turn left over, I could continue to play the attrition game I've been playing this whole time. I kill the rest of Tim's models that can do work. Like, that Manticore is dead probably this turn or next. And, like, the Chimera is 100% dead this turn. And then I score up and catch up on scenario and probably just grind what's levers left into the ground. But I don't have a turtle, which is bad because also a lot of mobility of my list is gone now that I don't have a Speed 8 battle engine running around the table. So we have to orchestrate an assassination run here. Garryth is just kind of standing in the middle of the table, camping nothing, and I have some tools here. I have an Arc Node. So the main reason I cast Soul Slave last turn is because it's a 1-turn setup, because it's often not useful to just put it on something and then arc through it in the same turn, as much as I did do that.
Although, in your defense, it wasn't useful.
It wasn't useful. Also true. So... now I have this Arc Node that I can use to extend some range. But the other thing I have to do is move this Krea, and it needs to have Rush to get in range to try to paralyze Garryth. It's a boosted 13 that, if I hit, basically wins me the game. And if not, makes this trying to win the game much harder.
Correct.
So, how do I want to do this? Well, I also look and see how far it would take me if I wanted to two-handed throw the Chimera into Garryth.
Play right there.
So there's also some tools I have to do this. If I enrage the Gladiator, it can throw a total of 7 inches. And then, well, you know, I throw it at Garryth and Garryth gets knocked down. But Garryth is about 2 inches, I'll say, a little under 2 inches from being in that throw range.
So what about charging the Chimera and beating him back?
Twice with Hexeris.
Yes.
So this is something I consider as well. If I beat back twice with Hexy, then I get an extra 2 inches, and then Hexy can cast Rush on the Gladiator, who then casts Rush on the Krea, and then walks in two-handed throws the Chimera into Garryth2, and then
you shoot him with all your Reivers.
Then I shoot him with all the Reivers, and the Reivers probably kill him because he's knocked down and has garbage armor.
14.
Garbage armor.
Correct.
So these are a lot of things to consider, and I'm like, this throw plan is super convoluted and probably not going to work because I'm gonna muck it up at some point here. We're just gonna go for the boosted 13.
Well, I think really you're like, let's set up the Krea. If that works, done. And if not, I've got spells from Hexy that I can support with the Reivers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the Reivers can do a big CRA and probably hit anyway.
Yeah.
I'm hoping my life points will save me from that, and my defense values will save me from Hexeris and the Krea.
So the Titan trucks the Chimera.
It's dead.
It's dead. And also cast Rush on this Krea, who gets to do a boosted attack, which
Rolls a 14.
rolls a 14 and paralyzes Garryth.
Just mentally rewind for a moment. That happened. It was amazing. Evan casts Thunder Spirit. Rolls an 11 for damage. Casts Thunder Spirit again, and throws his dice off the table in protest and kills me. And that's a dead Garryth, just like that.
And I had a Thunder
gentlemen.
Spirit left to go because I get to cast 4.
Yeah, if you just like needed to boost to hit them and needed to roll like 10s, I would have felt better about the situation.
Yeah.
Just the like not done ones, dice -2, your caster is dead.
Yep.
Lol.
It's pretty good.
So, that doesn't happen if I have a shield guard to protect me from the Krea. If I repo the correct amount of distance into the right spot, I'm in a much better position. If I insulate my pieces a little bit better, preserve Alara a little bit tighter, I've got Discordia who can babysit Garryth the whole game. Lots of little mistakes that I think were key in this game. But also, I think that's if I'm okay to say this, a hugely educational game. Because you can see me doing a lot of things right with the list, but you can also see the enormous untapped potential that's there with even just a little bit more depth.
For sure. I think Garryth's a caster that's going to take a lot of practice because you have to know how that game is going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
Because your caster, the most important piece you have on your side of the table, has to be in a spot a turn ahead for whatever's going to happen. And if you think, okay, in a turn from now I need to be this many inches up the table, and this turn that means you die, then you're in a bit of a sticky situation.
A pickle of sorts.
A pickle.
A stickle.
That sounds gross.
Like a sticky pickle. All right, folks. Thanks very much for watching our video. If you are watching this on Patreon, thank you very much for your support. We do really appreciate it. Evan is literally dying over here. But he's grateful too. And if you are not, and you're checking this out on YouTube, we have a Patreon service where you get the video a week early. Costs $1 a week if we actually publish a video. A couple of weeks we've missed because of conventions. We don't charge our Patreon subscribers for those weeks. So, when we work, you pay for it. When we don't, you don't. And the net effect is that I think, we've been able to produce a lot better content and been able to showcase a little bit more variety. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and we're also just going to have some cool stuff happening in the future. Like we're about to get some T-shirts, as we've talked about a little bit.
Yeah, we've got some cool people working on T-shirts, and we will be making those available soon for purchase and also possibly as some giveaways. So we're excited to show those designs off once they're finalized and once we have a method of selling them to you.
Yeah.
Exchanging your hard-earned money for goods and services.
Seems good.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, I think that's about it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next Monday.